Look at the fastest growing plant in your garden right now. The one that doubled in size this year. The one you are proud of because it took off. That plant might be destroying your garden from underneath, and the tag never warned you. Not because the plant died, because the tag promised something the plant could never deliver, and you believed it. I believed it too. For years, here is how the game works. A nursery tag is not a fact sheet. It is a marketing document written by the same people who want you to buy the plant and come back to buy another one when that one dies. There is no regulator checking whether full sun to part shade means what you think it means. There is no penalty for calling a plant perennial when it dies at 28 degrees. And nobody stops a grower from stamping drought tolerant on a plant that needs water every 3 days for its entire life. Think about that for a second. If a food label lied about what was inside the box, the company would get sued into oblivion. If a drug label claimed to cure something it could not, the FDA would shut them down. But a nursery tag? It can say whatever it wants. And you are the one who pays the price when the plant dies. Not the grower, not the store, you. Because by the time you realize the tag was wrong, the return window is closed and the plant is in the compost bin. That lie, the plant spreading underground with no warning, is the most dangerous one on this list. I am saving it for last, but it is not the only one. I have identified 5 specific claims that appear on tags at every nursery, every big box store, and every garden center. Claims that range from misleading to outright false. And here is what makes this different from any other gardening advice you have heard. I am not going to just tell you the tag is lying. I am going to show you exactly how to spot each lie before you pay for it. A specific test you can use right there in the aisle. I call it the tag truth scan. Before we get into them, type the number 5 in the comments if a tag has ever burned you. Just the number. I will know what you mean. If you are tired of spending money on plants that fake it for a season and then die, hit subscribe. I put out a video every week on buying smarter, not harder. And after the video, drop your state and the tag that burned you worst. I will reply with the real plant for your zone. I read every single comment. Let us start with number 5. The most common lie on any tag in America. It is so common that most gardeners do not even see it anymore. It just blends into the background. And that is exactly what the industry is counting on. Because once you stop reading the tag, you stop questioning it. Number 5, full sun to part shade. You see this on everything. Hydrangeas, hostesses, heucheras. It is printed on so many tags that most gardeners do not even read it anymore. But here is what those words actually mean. Full sun is 6 or more hours of direct, unfiltered sunlight per day. Part shade is 3 to 6 hours. These are not the same thing. A plant that genuinely thrives in both would need to survive full blazing southern exposure at 2 in the afternoon and also survive a north-facing foundation bed that get 2 hours of weak morning light. Very few plants can do both. Most plants labeled this way actually perform well in only one of those conditions. If you plant it in the wrong spot based on that tag, it will not thrive. It will struggle. It will look nothing like the picture. And you will blame yourself. So how do you catch this lie before you buy? Here are 2 tests you can do right in the aisle. Test 1. Look at the leaf. Thick, waxy, silver, or fuzzy leaves mean the plant is built for full sun. Those leaves are designed to reflect light and hold moisture. Thin, soft, dark green leaves mean it wants shade. They burn in direct sun. If a plant has thin, dark leaves and the tag says full sun to part shade, it will crisp up in full sun. If it has thick, waxy leaves and the tag says the same thing, it can probably handle both. Trust the leaf, not the plastic. Test 2. Pull out your phone and search the specific plant name plus sun tolerance. The actual breeder often publishes a narrower range than the garden center tag because the breeder has actually tested the plant in real conditions. The tag writer has not. The plants that genuinely earn this label are rare. A few varieties of hydrangea, some echinacea cultivars, and certain salvias. Everything else is lying to you. Assume the tag is wrong until the plant proves otherwise. Number 4, drought tolerant once established. I want you to read that phrase again. Once established. Those 2 words do all the heavy lifting. They create a promise that the tag does not have to deliver on for the first year, sometimes 2. Here is what once established actually means. After the plant has developed a root system deep enough to access moisture that surface roots cannot reach. That process takes a full growing season for most perennials. Some take 2. During that time, the plant needs regular water. It is not drought tolerant. The tag just does not tell you that part. Take Mexican bush sage. The tag says drought tolerant. The plant is native to Mexico and Central America. It grows in rocky, well-drained soil with a dry season. In those conditions, yes, it handles drought. But if you plant it in heavy clay soil in the Pacific Northwest during a wet spring, the roots never go deep, they sit shallow. And the first dry spell hits it like a brick. The plant dies. You think you killed it. The tag was technically correct about the species, but wrong about your specific situation. Here is the dirty secret. The tag is written for the plant's ideal conditions, not your conditions. And those are rarely the same. The test you can use. When you see drought tolerant once established, assume that means the plant needs 12 months of consistent watering before it can handle dry conditions. If you want a plant that delivers drought tolerance in year 1, look for plants with deep taproots or fleshy water-storing leaves. Common yarrow, autumn stonecrop, Russian sage, globe thistle. These earn the label immediately. Everything else, assume the tag is premature by at least 1 year. And here is the part that costs you real money. Most gardeners overwater their plants because they are scared of drought, or they underwater because the tag said drought tolerant. Either way, the plant suffers. The tag creates confusion that kills more plants than the drought itself. Here is the watering rule that actually works. Dig a hole twice as wide as the pot, but no deeper. Loosen the soil around the hole so the roots have an easy path outward. Water deeply, not frequently. A 5-minute sprinkle every day encourages shallow roots that never find deep moisture. 1 deep soaking per week. Let the hose run on a slow trickle for 30 minutes at the base. That forces roots to grow deep. Deep roots are what established actually means. Do that for 1 full season. After that, the plant can handle dry spells on its own. Now, I want you to look at the plant you are most proud of in your garden right now. The one you brag about. The one you show visitors. Now ask yourself, is it in the wrong place? Because the next claim on this list does not just waste your money, it wastes your time. And if you have been gardening for more than 2 seasons, you have already fallen for it. That showpiece plant in your yard might be tag listed for zones 4 through 9. There is no such thing as a plant that thrives in both Minnesota and Florida. Stay with me. I am going to show you exactly how to decode that number without ever touching your phone. Number 3. Zone 4 through 9. This is a range of 6 USDA hardiness zones. It spans from northern Minnesota to central Florida. And whoever printed this tag is telling you that this single plant survives both climates equally. That is almost certainly false. The USDA zone system measures one thing: average annual minimum temperature. Zone 4 hits -30 Fahrenheit. Zone 9 rarely drops below 20 Fahrenheit. A plant surviving both -30 winters and subtropical humidity exists, but it is exceptionally rare. Yet this zone range is printed on hundreds of common perennials. Take butterfly bush. It carries a zone 5 through 9 tag. In zone 5, it dies to the ground every winter and regrows from the roots in spring. In zone 8, it becomes a woody shrub 6 feet tall by May. Same tag, completely different plant. The claim is technically true if survives means the roots live. Expecting a shrub, the plant vanishes every winter. Expecting compact, you get an invasive thicket, coral bells. Zone 4 through 9 tag. In zone 4, the foliage stays compact and looks rough by March. In zone 9, it rots in summer humidity and dies by August. The tag does not mention that it needs afternoon shade below zone 7. It does not mention extra mulch above zone 5 for winter survival. The tag says zone 4 through 9 and drops the nuance. Why does the industry do this? One reason. Printing one tag for the entire country is cheaper than printing regional tags. It is not botanical optimism. It is supply chain efficiency. Here's the real rule. Never trust a zone range wider than 3 zones. Tag says zone 4 through 9. It grows well in zones 6 and 7, struggles at both ends. A plant that survives zone 4 winters is completely different in zone 9. The tag treats them as the same. They are not. There is one more layer to this. Even within your zone, your garden has microclimates. A plant in a north-facing bed against the foundation might be a full zone warmer than the same plant in an open windswept location 50 feet away. The tag does not know your house. The tag does not know that your back corner collects frost while your front bed stays warm. I learned this with a California lilac. Rated zone 7 through 9. Planted it in the warmest spot I had, south-facing against a brick wall. Survived 2 winters. Then a polar vortex hit -12. The plant died. The tag was not lying. The microclimate I counted on got overwritten by once-in-a-decade weather. The tag cannot predict the weather. It just prints a range and hopes for the best. If you want to know research, One look rule that replaces every zone tag you will ever read. Here it is. Ignore the top 2 and bottom 2 zones on the tag. Whatever is left in the middle is where the plant actually thrives. That is it. No research, no phone. One look. Number 2, perennial. This one hurts the most because it sounds like a guarantee. Perennial means the plant comes back year after year. That is what every gardener thinks. And that is what the tag wants you to think. But the word perennial in the nursery industry includes plants that are technically perennials in warm climates but will absolutely die in your cold winter. Lantana is a perennial in zone 9 and above. It is sold as a perennial in zone 5. It is not. Angelonia is sold as a perennial nationwide. It is not a perennial anywhere below zone 9. Most varieties of verbena sold as perennials are actually tender perennials that behave like annuals in any climate with a real winter. Here is how the industry gets away with it. The tag uses the botanical definition of perennial, a plant that lives for more than 2 years, but that definition assumes the plant is growing in its native climate. Take it out of its native climate, and that 2-year lifespan drops to 1 season. There is a darker version of this. Some plants survive as perennials in warm climates, but are sold nationwide in the perennial section. Growers know that cold zone gardeners will treat them as permanent and lose them every winter. They are selling you an annual at a perennial price. Here are 2 tests you can use in the aisle. Test 1. Look at the bottom of the tag. If the store also sells this same plant in 4 packs labeled as annuals, the plant is not a true perennial. You are paying more for the same plant in a different section. Test 2. I call it the 3-year test. Will this plant still be here, in this spot, looking good, in 3 years without me replanting it? If the answer is no, it does not go in my cart. True perennials that actually deliver across a wide range include Echinacea, Rudbeckia, and Geranium roseanne. These have been tested. These return. These earn the word. Most other tags? Read them as an aspiration, not a guarantee. The tag wants you to think about this season. I want you to think about 3 seasons from now. Now we get to number 1, and I saved this one for last because it is the most dangerous. Not because the plant dies, because the plant lives. It lives too well, and by the time you realize what is happening, it has already taken over. This is the lie that keeps giving, long after you have forgotten what the tag said. Number 1, fast-growing or quick cover. This is the most dangerous claim on any nursery tag. Not because it is false, it is usually true. The plant grows fast. It spreads fast. It covers ground fast. The danger is what the tag leaves out. Fast growing in the perennial world almost always means aggressive root system. And aggressive root system almost always means invasive behavior. Here is the unspoken rule in the nursery industry. A plant that spreads by underground runners or self-seeding is cheap to propagate. Cheap to propagate means high profit margin. High margin perennials get pushed by growers and retailers. And the ones that push best are the ones that grow fast. You see the cycle. Take Creeping Jenny. Sold everywhere as a fast-growing ground cover for sun or shade. It is fast-growing. In my garden, it jumped a brick path in 1 season, infiltrated the lawn, and established in the neighbor's yard. It took 3 years to remove. The tag said, quick cover. It did not say unstoppable. Periwinkle. Same story. Sold as a shade ground cover. Fast-growing. It forms a mat so dense that nothing else grows through it. It escapes into woodland areas and smothers native plants. In many states, it is listed as invasive. The tag does not mention this. Japanese spurge. The most common shade ground cover in American garden centers. Sold as fast-growing. It spreads by underground stems, establishing in beds and then moving into adjacent beds. Once established, it is extremely difficult to remove. Then there is purple loosestrife. Sold for decades as a fast-growing perennial for moist areas. It is now classified as a noxious weed in 32 states. It is illegal to sell in several of them. The tag did not warn you. The tag is long gone, but the loosestrife in your drainage ditch is not. Here is what fast-growing actually tells you about a plant. It spends most of its energy on root and rhizome production rather than flower production. That means fewer blooms, more maintenance, and a plant that will outgrow its space in 1 season, the test you can use. Before you buy anything labeled fast-growing or quick cover, search the plant name plus the word invasive plus your state. If it shows up on any invasive plant list, do not buy it, no matter how pretty the picture on the tag. If it does not show up on an invasive list, check how far it spreads in 1 season. Anything that travels more than a foot from its planting spot in year 1 is going to be a problem in year 3. What should you plant instead? slow and steady ground covers that actually behave. Wild ginger spreads at a gentle pace and stays put. It forms a solid mat of heart-shaped leaves that suppress weeds without smothering everything else. Sweet woodruff forms a soft green carpet that expands modestly each year and smells like fresh hay when you brush against it. Foamflower spreads by runners in shade, but at a pace you can control with one hand. It blooms in spring with delicate white flower spikes and then settles in as a quiet ground cover for the rest of the season. These plants earn their place over time rather than forcing you to fight them for control of your own garden. For every one of these, there are a dozen plants sold as fast-growing that will cost you more in removal labor than they ever saved you in coverage time. The tag that says quick cover should be read as plan to remove. That is the tag truth scan. 5 rules, 5 lies. 1 trip to the garden center you will never make the same way again. So here's what I want you to remember next time you are walking through the garden center. Look at that tag, read every word. Then ask yourself one question. Would this plant survive in my specific soil, in my specific climate, under my specific watering schedule? Or is this just a piece of plastic trying to sell me something I will have to rip out next year? The garden center makes money when you buy. You win when the plant lives. Those two things are not the same. If this video saves you from one bad purchase, hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already. I put out a video every single week on how to garden smarter, not harder. Drop a comment with your state and the tag that burned you worst. I'll reply with what to plant instead. I read every single one, and I will see you in the next video.